What's up, everybody? Welcome into this episode of the Rapala Collegiate Bass Podcast. We're here today being joined by Evan Mabrey, winner of the Bass Pro Shops Big Bass Bash presented by Berkley, the first event of the season for 24-25 Bass Pro Shops Collegiate Bass Fishing Series, the ACA's historic 20th season. He won the event that had close to 600 anglers competing in it. Two-day tournament there, Big Bass format at Kentucky Lake, and brought in 7.11 pounds of largemouth bass, tipping the scales there on day two, session three, presented by Berkley to win that session and take the overall event victory. Evan, real quick, man, just a couple days removed, you made it home about 48 hours ago. Talk about being able to win that tournament and what that means for you.
Yeah, man, it was nothing short of a blessing this week. It was just we got to go out there and just do what we love to do, and it's fun being able to fish the college. I enjoy it, and just being able to finally bring home a victory is something awesome.
Big Bass format event, two-day tournament. I know that you talked about it on site, but let's hear it from you here now on the podcast. Kind of talk about how the weekend went and the amount thereof, or possibly the lack of bites that y'all got, but being able to get that one that really counted to win the tournament meant something. Kind of talk about the fishing for the weekend and how y'all got that one bite.
Yeah, man. So whenever we went out there to practice, we practiced Friday and then had Saturday and Sunday for the tournament. And Friday we fished and we caught I think three or four keepers all day, and it was super tough. And then day one of the tournament started, and our fish just we couldn't even hardly get a bite. It was very, very tough. We got a couple fish that we were able to catch, but they were all too small. So we never even had a keeper day one, and then day two we fished and all the way till the end of the day we never even caught a keeper until I caught the 7-11, and from that point, I mean, that was the only keeper we caught in the 2 days of the tournament, but luckily it was the right one.
Talk a little bit about how that works. You know, we talked leading up to the tournament with the anglers from Murray State, and they were there locally and previewed the event. And I asked them a similar question in terms of a big bass format tournament is you have two options. There's 7 weigh-in sessions, and we saw several anglers weigh in multiple times. And when they're doing that, they're fishing pretty close by. They're getting a lot of bites. They may still get a big bite to win the tournament, but they're definitely fishing for bites. And that happens, and they stay close, and they can come in for session 1, and they're back for session 2 with the fish that they caught, and so on. Or you can also do two-parter here where you just go for one big bite, and that might mean you run all the way up towards the Pickwick Dam side of the lake, which we've seen anglers do and heard of anglers doing, and they spend a couple hours running throughout the day and they fish for one big bite and come back. Or you pick an area there on Kentucky Lake and you target one bite, and that's all you need. So, but all that to be said, kind of talk about the format of the event and how it lends itself to a scenario where maybe you're catching fish and you're not catching the winning fish, but at the or kind of like you guys where you're going for that one bite, and once it happens, it pays off. Kind of talk a little bit about how this format of the tournament lends itself to a strategy where at the end of the day, you just needed the one big bite that y'all got.
Our strategy was just to keep a bigger profile bait in our hands for pretty much the whole day, and just try to get big bites with the big profile baits, and we knew we might fish the whole time and not get a keeper, but when we did get a keeper, it ended up being the right one.
Talk a little bit about the cover section of the lake, et cetera, that y'all dialed in on. We had, I'm up there on stage for both days throughout the entirety of competition, and every year it's the same. You hear a little bit of everything, right? Anglers are blowing down the bank, throwing topwaters. They're out deep. They're fishing the bars out on the main river. What was it that y'all keyed in on that maybe tell us about a specific area where you caught that fish, and was that kind of the same areas y'all were targeting the whole time?
Yeah, so we fished. So in our practice, we spent up the lake, up almost to New Johnsonville, and we ended up fishing all that stuff in the first day of the tournament, and we made that run, and it just didn't work out for us. So day two came around, and we started fishing stuff that we fished just previous years, and we never even practiced this year because we just being up there from last year's big bass. This is my sophomore year, so I fished last year's big bass, and then we fished the Bassmaster in the spring on Kentucky Lake. So we've got a few different ideas of different parts of the lake that we didn't practice, and we just started kind of running that stuff, and we started fishing down the bank and just fishing down long stretches of bank that looked pretty good, and eventually we started fishing shade and docks and just whatever there was on the bank, and eventually we got to a dock and skipped under the dock, and that's where she was.
Yeah, give us a little bit more of a play-by-play of that big bass. It ends up being the winning fish of the tournament, 7.11 pounds. Was there anything crazy fishing around a dock? Were you worried it was going to break off, get hung up on something? Was your net man there standing by, ready to do their job? Kind of give us the cast to catch on it.
Yeah, it's actually kind of a funny story. So whenever we were fishing down the bank, I had caught 4 or 5 big drum in a row, and it was in the it very pretty quickly. I caught 4 or 5 drums, so we started it as soon as I hooked the fish. First of all, we thought I was hung, and then it finally came free and got wrapped up again in something. So we just assumed it was a drum or something that wasn't a bass, and then it got a little bit closer and got hung up under the dock. Actually, it got hung up under the dock, and we could see it down there. And when we saw it, we knew it was a really big bass. So I told my partner to get the net, and I just sat there and held it, and finally swam out. And when it swam out, it rolled up. I mean, it didn't even fight after that. It just rolled up right into the net.
That's you always hear those scenarios, and it's really funny. It feels like it happens in practice or when you're fun fishing, and you always tell yourself a scenario like that will play out. And man, if I was in a tournament, it would never work out that way. Funny though that you were able to get it to work out in your favor, and it turns into a major victory. That victory earning you the title for the session winner of that session 3 on day 2, presented by Berkley. That earned you a $1,000 Bass Pro Shops gift card, Berkley baits, and an Abu Garcia Veritas casting rod. And then for the overall tournament victory, you get an additional close to $4,000 in prizes and contingencies, including a Power Pole gift certificate, Turtle Box speaker, another $1,000 Bass Pro Shops gift card, Abu Garcia rod, a pair of Bahia sunglasses, and a Trailer Valet drop hitch, of which I believe you also claimed the ACA logo contingency. Man, that haul right there, all total worth about $5,000 in prizes and contingencies. No entry fee tournament. To be able to go out, compete for that, and come home with all those different items. Talk a little bit about what that means as a college angler to go out and have as lucrative of a payout for that at a big bass tournament that it costs you nothing to enter the event.
Yeah, I just have to say a big thank you to you and everybody else at Collegiate Bass, because without y'all we hands down wouldn't be able to do what we do. And it's just a really big opportunity y'all give us to be able to have these no entry fee events and have such good prizes. I mean, that means the world to us, and I can speak for all the college anglers, because without y'all we wouldn't be able to do what we do. And it's just, we're very appreciative of that.
We appreciate you too, man. We're talking to Evan Mabrey from the University of Montevallo. They're ranked 6th in the Bass Pro Shop School of the Year, presented by Abu Garcia, of which, along with all those prizes and contingencies that we just discussed, Montevallo had earning valuable points. So yourself, that victory earns 1,750 points towards the team, and then the next highest finishing angler, double points tournament, this was there at Kentucky Lake, finished in 6th. So Montevallo, when the points standings come out this week, will have points for 1st and 6th overall, of which entering the tournament, like I said, you guys were in 6th with 3,480 points. You're going to just about double your point standings in one weekend. Talk about the significance of a great start for y'all. 2 top 10 finishes. It's going to, like I just said, double your points, essentially, thereabout, give or take, to kick off the season.
Yeah, every year we're going on. We've won the last 4 school of the years, and that's something that's very important to us. This is something we're trying to keep history going and go and make it number 5. That'd be awesome, and this is what we need to start the year right. We're getting off to a strong start, having a good finish at the national championship, and having actually 3 boats in the top 10 was not only the top 2 that were giving us good points, but another one in the top 10 to kind of block other people from getting up those higher points, and just being able to get a good start to this is hopefully going to be a strong start to a really good season for us again.
Yeah, I was looking at some of the numbers before we got on this call, and I think Montevallo had about 19 fish inside that top 150, which accounts for sure more than 10% of that top 150 points earning fish that were out there. So you guys had a lot of anglers with success, like you said, 3 inside the top 10. Kind of talk about the game plan or the mentality, maybe the message the coach provided to y'all when y'all left to come to this tournament. First ACA double points event of the season, one of the first major points college tournaments for y'all so far in this campaign. Share with us a little bit of like the mentality of the team, or what y'all were coming in there hoping to achieve.
Yeah, we just all knew that a few of us were going to have a really good finish in this tournament, because this really is one of the most important point tournaments of the year, and being able being able to come out here and have a good finish, and it's very important to us. So we knew that somebody on the team was going to have to, or two people on the team were going to have a good finish, and preferably a lot more people to have good finishes. Like I said, to block out other points from other
What
teams.
what at all were there any nerves? Maybe you didn't know what was happening, but you knew that you had that fish you're bringing in the last session. Is there anything? There's 7 sessions, and in the seventh and final session, y'all are able to take that lead of the entire tournament. What kind of talk a little bit about if there was any part of you or the team where you're like, man, are we really going to be able to pull this off? How are we doing? And in that final session, I think it ended up being, let's see, it ended up being that your fish came in during session 3, and then the other, so the 6th place overall was waiting on day 1, session 1 by Storm Clark, but the other one you were saying that was inside the top 10 was Dalton in day 2,
Yes,
session
sir.
3. So that 2 of y'all's 3 top 10 fish come in the last session of the day. Kind of speak if to, at all there was any, the team was getting a little uneasy or some nerves knowing that, hey, somebody out here has got to step up so we can achieve what we want to accomplish.
Yeah, whenever it was one of those things, we knew that we had a good finish as it was already, but it was something that, I mean, preferably we would like to have a few more boats up there just as kind of a cushion, and that way if somebody does slip up and break off a fish or lose a big fish, like if I would have lost my fish, I mean we it's good knowing that we had other people that were going to have a good finish as well.
You mentioned it in your first response, but I'm go ahead and ask too. Chasing history is the University of Montevallo this season, who has won the past 4 Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Abu Garcia titles. A win this season would make it the 5th. There's a couple of schools behind y'all in UNA and McKendree who are trying to become just the second teams along with you to win 3 or more titles. To be able to continue and pursue what y'all want to and chase this goal of continuing to win and finish in first place for the 5th straight season. Talk a little about just kind of the emotions of the season or what you're feeling. We had the opportunity to come to campus and talk to Coach and some of the anglers on the team, and it was interesting to hear kind of chronicling the history of the team's success. And in that first season, how they attacked that and really wanted to win the first one. But once you win the first one, you want to win the second one. And once you win the second one, you've got the third, of which you kind of breathe a sigh of relief for a moment because you're the first team to ever accomplish that. And then once you finish the third, when do you start talking about trying to win the fourth? Encompass all that together into, come into this season, kind of where are the nerves at? What are y'all, there's obviously a goal of finishing the year ranked number 1 that you want to accomplish, as does every team out there. As y'all have an opportunity to do that and continue to rewrite the history books, speak to a little bit the nerves, the thoughts behind this season as y'all continue to move forward.
Yeah, the way I look at it is more of just a momentum standpoint. Like I want us to be able to. We're at a good start now. We need to keep the momentum going into these next tournaments coming into Dardanelle and all these other tournaments that are coming up. That we just need to keep the momentum going, and if we can keep up the pace that we're going at now, we should have a really good season and have a really good shot at number 5. And like you said, number 1, number 2, and number 3 were cool, and then it was a sigh of relief, and then going on and having number 4 school of the year was just a blessing, and it was a fun year last year. But we all look at it as number 4 is cool, but why not go in and get 5? I just I think it'd be awesome just to rewrite the history book. I guess the way to word it.
We've talked prizes, we've talked points, but also automatic qualification in the Collegiate Bass Fishing Championship presented by Bass Pro Shops awarded to you and those that finished inside the top 10 there at Kentucky Lake. You qualify for the ACA's historic 20th National Championship event to take place at Lake Hartwell next May. Also, inside that, y'all secure 3 spots, of which I don't know for certain, so I'm going to say it, but I'm not going to guarantee it. I think y'all had about 7 boats at the championship this past year. You've already equaled that number or gotten close here to start the season. What does that mean for y'all? Is there's obviously an end goal of winning the School of the Year, Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Abu Garcia, and at the end of that season, that Collegiate Bass Fishing Championship presented by Bass Pro Shops is triple points. So the more teams you have, essentially, looking at it statistically, your better opportunity there is to be able to go out and maximize the points that are on the line this week. So securing 3 spots here in that top 10, you being one of them, speak to what it means for you to be able to lock up a spot in that national championship, but also the team as a whole to continue to expand on their amount of entries.
Yeah. So this national championship you'll have is something that is. last year, or coming into this year, one of my goals was to qualify for the national championship, and from a team standpoint, qualifying for this thing is very important because, like you said, the more people that are there, statistically, the higher chance we have of having a really good finish, and that being one of the last events of the year. That's something that it boils down a lot of points where it becomes one of the most important events of the year, and we're just having more boats there, having more opportunities of people to have good finishes, and all that just makes it a very important tournament for us. And already, like you said, already having 3 boats that are qualified for it's just a very important thing. And hopefully end up having more qualified, say at Dardanelle and at Pickwick here in the spring, and all that will hopefully end up for a pretty good year.
Well, Evan, thanks for joining us here on the Rapala We Are Collegiate Bass Podcast today. Congratulations on that major victory. Like we said, earning qualification into the Collegiate Bass Fishing Championship presented by Bass Pro Shop. So we know we'll see you at least one stop down the road, but I'm sure we'll see you at a couple more in between. Today, thanks for joining us again, as we said, and safe travels out on the road, and best of luck in competition for the rest of the season.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Everything looks good. I'm friggin' starving, man. Been spawning all morning.
Ugh, TMI, bro. What do you want?
I'll take a Crush City freeloader and gizzard shad.
Anything to drink.
Water.
Pull ahead, please. Welcome to Minnow King.
We're gonna have what he's had.
Yeah, throw me in a net BLT, too.
Pull ahead, please.
Calm down. Quit feeding him so much.
Hey, man, I'm trying to, man. If you
If you overfeed him, he's gonna hide under a log.